Hey, what's up, Randy? This is a demo video for you for your set of 15 Raxus Starkillers with the Goth Master Chassis. So I was racking my brain on how to do 15 of these because I didn't have 15 batteries. You didn't send me batteries like you did last time. I just have one test battery, maybe 5 extra. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm just going to focus on this particular saber because they're all set up exactly the same. They all look exactly the same, and just show you what this one looks like. I've shared plenty of pictures on my Facebook page and my Instagram throughout the entire build process. These took me, this is the 8th day. I got them done this morning. So basically, you know, almost 7.5 days, or yeah, 7.5 days worth. But yeah, they're all set up the exact same way. So we're going to go over this one, and we'll go from there. All right, so they're all 2-button setups. You're going to find I used low profile tactile switches in the boxes on all these. They're all the same height. All right, so the front switch here will be power. The back will be auxiliary. I did use the shadow foil props lit PCB in here, which you cannot see at all, but I'll show you that that lights up. I used a real quartz crystal in all of them, and I used the same kind in all of them. So these are double terminated quartz crystals that I get off of Etsy. I also used the shadow foil props NeoPixel accents. I used 2 of them. All right, so I used one for the main chamber, and then you gave me another one for the secondary crystal chamber that you can see through this handle. Before we go through that, though, we're just going to take a look at the chassis and what Rick did. All right, so to get to your chassis, just unscrew your handle here. It'll come right off. All right. Put this off to the side. Talk about that in a second. I do have a battery in here right now, but this is the Goth Designs master chassis for this Raxus. This was very cool to see, so I do love the fact that you reached out to Rick and had him do this, because you were the one that made that happen. So thank you for that. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a saber that I designed, and Sean and I went in on it. Sean did the run. I designed the saber. After these 15, this will make 82 of these that I have installed. A lot with my own chassis, a lot with the Taco Shop chassis, and now 15 of these with the Goth Master chassis. And so it was very cool to see Rick design a chassis for a saber that I designed. It has a crystal chamber in here with a spinning plasma piece, or a spinning plasma gate on top of the crystal. So you'll see that spin here in a second. This is actually the kill switch. So you can flip that down. As long as she... Turn it off like that. These are all programmed with one sound font, and that is the Kyberphonic Secret Apprentice. I think it's the V2 version. They all have the same sound font. They all have a copy of the config file on their respective SD cards. All right, so all set up the same way. Another cool feature about this secondary crystal chamber here is that Rick put in this little piece that you could play around with, and it's held on with magnets. So you could push it down, it slides down on those 2 brass bars. It will stay down with magnets there if you wanted to get a better look at the crystal chamber, or if you prefer to have that piece up, you could just slide it up like that, and it stays up there with magnets as well. So that's a pretty cool little piece to play around with. All right, to get to your board or to take the battery out, you have to grab this piece right here and you have to pull it off. This is held in with 4 magnets. So you've got 2 there, and you got 2 up top, and they correspond with the 2 magnets here. If I can zoom in on that, the 2 magnets here, and then there's 2 magnets over here. All right, when you take that off, you can come over here and you can push your battery from the board side, and you can pop it out like that, and then you can grab it and pull it out. Or if you wanted to make changes to your board, this is where you would do that as well. So access to your SD card and your micro USB slot from right there. This piece does not come off. It is glued in place. All right, so you'll need to do that whenever you take off the battery, or take out the battery or put it in. The negative side of the battery goes up in here, so the leaf spring is by the secondary chamber. Just slide it in there. This piece simply slides right on, and it stays on with those 4 magnets, and that is the same with all of them. All right, and you've got some cool brass rods running across either side of the battery compartment over here. These all are running 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speakers. All right, so same setup for all of them. Let's go ahead and put the handle on. So when you got this on, this will slide right on just like this. Lock it down tight until your grip section aligns. Now on this particular one, the grip section does not quite align. As I spoke to you about, out of the 15, you have 3 sabers, this one being one of them, where the grip section does not align perfectly. So one thing I was explaining is these handles are not universal to the cores. So my guess is whoever took the cores off of the handles to heat stain the titanium rods and the emitters for you, put them all off to one side, put the handles all off to one side, heat stain these cores, and then just kind of randomly put the handles back. You will need to take the 3 that I marked, and I put a piece of Scotch tape or packing tape on the top of 3 boxes, and I said wrong handle. So those 3 you'll have to cycle through some of the units that you have in-house and match up the handles. This one is not bad, but you can tell it does not perfectly align with the center of the crystal, and it needs to do that. And if you have the right handle, it will do that. These cores and these handles were machined together, and so that's what's going on there. All right, so you got 3 of those out of 15 that you'll need to line up. But when you get that, you want to take this, slide this panel down. It's the only panel on magnets. You can slide it down. It reveals your secondary crystal chamber and your kill switch. So you can come over here and flip this to the side. Let me do it while I was looking at it. Flip it off to the side.
As long as she lives, I will always control you.
So you've got a blinking going on here. I gave you a heartbeat for this one up here till we hit power. That's when you'll see your rotating plasma gate inside of your handle there. That's the same for all of them. When your main crystal goes solid, and I've got this one going back and forth. Now you can see that lit up in there. One thing I did forget to show you is all of these have a 4-pixel accent strip on top of the board. All right, and that is wired in line with the main blade. It's not a separate blade style. So when you turn on the saber, you'll get that light up here as well in that grill section. All right, and then you've got twist off. So we'll go ahead and put this back on. That's what the crystal chamber looks like with the door open. When you're not using it, you can just slide that door back into place, but you still have a little bit of shine through, and you can see your crystal chamber in here. Sabers are plenty loud. Auxiliary down here. Get your blade locked up. You can see that secret right there. And twist off. The blade retention on these is located underneath this greebly. So what you'll want to do is you want to unscrew this top greebly all of the way. When you do that, you're going to see that little silver grub screw right in front of the main hole. That's the blade retention. I'm not going to mess with that during the demo, but that's how you'll tighten the blade. Each of these small greeblies here, so this greebly, my camera work is rough. This greebly right here and this greebly up top here, they both have the black pieces in them. I did not glue them down. I just twisted them in and locked them in. I didn't glue them down because they are both hollow. So if somebody wanted to go with the option of a see-through glass eye, they could just simply unscrew these and put that glass eye in, and they'd have a little bit of shine through in either one of these holes. So for now, they're just screwed in. All right. This saber takes a 7/8 inch blade. I'll put a 7/8 inch blade in here. I won't lock it down for the demo because I'm not going to swing it around pretty tough. But of course, you'll want to lock that blade down. All right, we'll hit power. And they all light up a blade very well. I gave you a bit of an unstable blade for this. They all have the same blade style until you go through and change it, of course. Our blaster bolts. Blade lock up. See right here. Good flash on flash. And twist off. All right, I'm going to take the blade out. Now, if we wanted to turn the saber off, of course, we could turn it on from here. Slide this window down. And then just flip the kill switch from here, which is a super cool feature. I really like that how Rick incorporated that into the secondary crystal chamber, and you don't have to take the handle off. So that was a very, very cool design. All right, but we're going to go ahead and take this battery out because it is mine, and I needs it. So we'll take the handle out. Okay, remember to take this and just slide it off like that. Push the battery from the board side until it pops out, and then you can take this out with your finger. All right, and then we'll slide this piece back on. It just simply goes on just like that. But that is basically the, let me make sure that's all the way up. There we go. That is basically one of the 15 Raxus Sabers with Goth Master chassis. Let me know if everything makes sense to you, and I will get these out in the mail to you tomorrow. Thanks, Randy.